What's going on, guys? My name is Brian, also known as That Journaling Guy, and today I am here to give you a pen review. I feel like I don't really review fountain pens on my channel often, and I would like to do it a little bit more. So this is actually going to be one of the first fountain pen reviews that I do on my channel. Now, the Baltimore Pen Show is in less than a week, and I know that one of the things that a lot of people look forward to doing or seeing at the pen show is Schondsgn. Ian is always really nice with his customers and like his front-facing part of his business. He's been super helpful. He's always very talkative. He answers any questions that you have. I've always said amazing things about Ian and his company. I have personally never owned any of his pens though, until a few months ago. I was able to get this. This is the Schondsgn Pocket 6 pen. It was actually a gift from my girlfriend for my birthday, and I was ecstatic. I have actually not been able to put it down since I got it, so that kind of gives you an idea. I'm not being biased, I promise. So, in order to give you a non-biased and most objective review that I possibly can, I've broken it up into categories, okay? The review. This is what we're gonna be looking at when talking about this pen. We're gonna give it a total score in each category out of 10. Then we'll average out all of it to get a final score at the end. We're gonna be looking at design and aesthetics. We'll be looking at nib performance. We'll be looking at ink flow and the filling system of the pen, the build quality and durability, the value for your money, the writing experience, and the uniqueness and community appeal. Then, like I said, total up all of the points, get it out of 70 points, and the average at the end will be the total score for the pen. So let's get right into it. Let's first start with the design and aesthetic portion of the review. It is a really nice design. I really like the color wave, the faceted body, the slim, compact body. It is a pocket pen, so it is going to be smaller, and it's also going to be made out of metal. And I've talked about this plenty of times in my fountain pens. I love metal pens, but it seems like my love for metal pens comes with the weight. And honestly, the weight is not here for this pen at all. It's actually incredibly light, to the point where it actually feels cheap, but that cheapness does not compromise the feeling of the cheapness, because it is not cheap, by the way. It feels cheap, but it doesn't compromise in its durability. It's a very weird feeling, okay? Because I don't like really light pens. And to put it into context, this pen weighs 15 grams, right? The Lamy Safari weighs 17 grams. A Kaweco All Sport weighs 44 grams. So if you have any of those pens, you can get an idea of how light this pen actually feels. Now, in terms of ergonomics, it sits really well in the hand, especially when it's posted and you're writing. The beauty of this pen really comes in the fact that it becomes a full-size pen once it's posted, right? It feels balanced. It doesn't feel really top-heavy. It doesn't feel really loaded towards the nib. It's honestly really impressive, the balance of this pen. It feels good in almost every way, shape, or form. One of my favorite things about this pen actually is how everything seems to just be like fit perfectly. Like it is a smoothness that I can't even explain. Obviously, it's a machined pen, okay? Like it's made with a machine. Everything is like created to the micrometer. It is almost an exact science, it feels like. Sure, I'm sure there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of tuning, but everything fits perfectly. So this is the size of the pen. Feels good in the hand. And honestly, you don't need to post it. If you're really in a rush and you want to just write with the top, you can still write. It's still manageable. All of the weight isn't in posting it, but it feels great regardless. Most of my issues really comes with the feeling of how light it is, because I like I said, I've always said I like metal pens, but I guess my love for the metal pens actually came from the weight. I liked metal pens because they were heavier. That's why I actually don't like plastic pens. So a little bit of a conflicting scenario there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, anyway, it's a beautiful pen. It feels good in the hands. I love it. I love it. So for the design and the aesthetic, we are giving it an 8 out of 10. Now let's talk about nib performance. So to be fair, okay, I did replace the nib on my Pocket 6 pen because what comes with it is honestly just a regular Yobo number 6, which is good. It's not great, it's not bad, it's reliable, it's average, you know? And for that, we're just gonna give it a medium score of 7, but I want to talk about the fact, I mean, some good things about using a Yobo number 6. Number 1, the fact that it can be interchanged with other Yobo number 6 pens. I actually bought a Heinz pen at last year's Baltimore show, or I was actually given one. And I have this beautiful, like rose gold Yobo number 6 nib, an extra fine by Heinz pens. And it fit perfectly into this pen. There was no leaking. It was just squeaky, like fit perfectly. And it writes amazingly. I love how small it writes. It's always consistent, doesn't hard start. So when talking about the nib performance, it doesn't really feel fair to dock it points or give it amazing praise because it's just a good nib. So like I said, it comes with just a Yobo number 6. And I suspect that a lot of that has to do, it feels a little uninspired, I'll be honest, okay? Like it's just a plain nib. You buy it for the body, you're not buying it for the nib because they have their own proprietary nib, but that's another thing. It's smooth, it writes nice. That's what I have to say. So I'm trying to put it in the middle ground of good because it's reliable, because it's smooth. There's no hard starts. It's a little bit stiff, but that's nothing to really worry about in terms of nibs. So we're gonna go with a steady 7. Ink flow and filling system. The ink flow I feel like kind of plays into the nib a little bit. I haven't had any issues with the nib. Again, Yobo number 6 nibs, they're reliable, they're customizable, they're good nibs. But in terms of the filling system, it's actually going to be a cartridge filler. It being a pocket size pen, it is just a little bit too small for a normal size converter. But to be honest, I can't say like I've had any issues with like ink starvation or flooding or yeah, like the size of the cartridge hasn't really been an issue in terms of me running out of ink too often. The only limiting factor here is just the fact that it is a pocket-sized pen, so you need to go into this understanding that you're gonna get a smaller everything, essentially, okay? Smaller cartridge, like smaller reservoir for ink. Regardless, the filling system's simple. I use the cartridges, I reuse them often, ones that I get from Pilot or whatever, use syringes to fill them up with the ink that I prefer, and there's no issues. I haven't had any issues with them leaking, with them not fitting correctly. So again, the only issue that it has is the size, and that's just the nature of the pen itself. So nothing to write home about, nothing amazing. Again, pretty standard, pretty average. About a 7. We're gonna leave it at a 7 out of 10. That feels fair, okay? Now, really, I think one of the most important categories when talking about a Schon design pen, and specifically this pen, because that's what the review is going to be the value for the money, okay? It is a premium build, and it is premium quality, and that comes at a higher price. This pen specifically, okay, was about $260 without taxes or without anything. And you have to ask yourself, are you paying for the quality of the pen or are you just paying for the brand's name? And in this case, it honestly feels like you're paying for a little bit of both. But like, I don't want it to come across as like this is, you know, you're specifically just paying for the Schon design name. That's not the case. It is a very high quality pen in every sense of the word, right? The materials aren't cheap. And again, you're kind of investing into a local-ish fountain pen startup is the best way I could say it. It's the kind of company that's like disrupting the industry. It's not like the big six or whatever you call them. It's not like Pilot and Sailor and all these people that have been around for 100+ years at this point. No, it's a smaller company, and they take a lot of effort and care in the quality of their pens. They are very transparent in the manufacturing process, the type of machines that it takes in order to create these kind of pens. It's not cheap. I mean, I can imagine that even starting a fountain pen company is not cheap. So again, take that into consideration. There is kind of that tax, right? Like that founder tax, even though they've been around for a few years now, when you're buying these pens. Now, when it comes to, how do I say this? To the value for your money, this is gonna sound really nitpicky, but it's important, okay? It's important for me, it's important when designing products that are costing almost $300. And that is the unboxing experience. Honestly, the unboxing experience for this pen sucks. Okay, it comes in a little cardboard tube, and you slide out your pen. It's got some confetti kind of cushion in it, and that's it. And honestly, it is so underwhelming. And I know I sound like a little bitch saying that, okay, but let me paint it this way, okay? The unboxing experience is your first real emotional connection with your customer. Don't believe me? Ask Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs believed that the unboxing experience was a critical part of Apple's brand because it shaped their first connection with the brand. He didn't just see it as like a protective thing. It was a way to build anticipation, reinforce the ethos behind the company, kind of like made it feel special. It made it feel premium. It doesn't feel that way when I open this pen, and I understand that this might be a cost-saving measure. Sure, like designing the boxes, I promise you, if you look into what Steve Jobs and Apple went through in order to design their boxes, you'd understand it's not a cheap process. It takes time, it takes a lot of iterations, but there's a reason that people buy Apple products. It's exciting. The unboxing experience is one of the most exciting parts about it, to be honest. And this genuinely did not feel like a almost $300 unboxing experience. And now you're like, Brian, well, that's so dumb. It's a fountain pen. Why would you expect that? Okay, well, to put that into perspective, have you guys ever opened a Pilot Custom 823? It's about $180 to $220, depending on when you get it. So it's in a similar price range, but they've got that packaging down. Like, I wish I could find the example. It feels nice. It's a plastic cover that you open up like you're opening a treasure chest, and you're presented this beautiful pen that's secure with cushioning in the back. It's a nice experience. Your first connection to that pen, to that brand. If you've never had Pilot before, it leaves a hell of an impression. It makes you feel proud to have that fucking pen. It feels good. I didn't feel great opening this, and I know it sounds nitpicky, but it's little things like this that I genuinely feel could take this to the next level, right? I'm not a packaging expert. I'm just telling you how I feel. I'm not an expert about this shit. But let's move on. For what you get, is it like, are you getting the bang for your buck? I'm going to say sort of. I've had zero problems with the pen. I've been using it every day. I will throw it in a fucking backpack and have zero worry about its durability or that something's going to happen to it. But regardless, it feels a little bit overpriced, okay? For anyone who's on a budget, I wouldn't recommend this pen. I'd recommend either another finish or another pen, because they do have other finishes and other price ranges where you can get something for about $150, where at that point, it feels a lot more reasonable to spend that on a Schondsgn pens, right? Like, at that point, it makes sense. But if you're on a budget and you're not looking, and you're just starting your fountain pen collection, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a must-have for your collection now, like at this point. you know, I'm sorry. It sounds like I'm being harsh, but I think these are kind of things that you have to take into consideration, because fountain pens aren't cheap. They'll never be cheap. You really need to make the decision. Are you getting the bang for your buck? Not quite, not yet, not here, not this one, not this finish, not this. And you know, the argument is probably like, oh, nobody forced you to go with the fancy finish and the facets and the da-da-da-da. Yeah, but why would I not try to get the best experience possible if I'm going to talk about a company, right? So regardless, we are going to rate it a 6 out of 10 in terms of value for you. Now, in terms of the writing experience, again, a little bit of that comes from the nib in general, but specifically with the body of the pen, I want to talk about the fact that I wish the grip, right, where you put your hand, was also faceted the same way. Hold on. There we go. Was also faceted the same way that the rest of the pen was. You can kind of see these little grooves, right? They feel good to hold. The thing is, the grip doesn't have that. What does that mean? After a few minutes, long minutes, after a little while of having longer writing sessions, you're gonna start to slip. All right, I started to slip a little bit. I have notoriously sweaty hands, so understand that when you watch my reviews. I got sweaty hands. I'm sorry. I run hot and I get nervous with shit, and sometimes I just get sweaty hands. So after a while of, I would say, 30 minutes plus. If you're writing for 30 minutes plus, expect your little greasy, sweaty munchkin hands are gonna slip off. So I do wish the faceted design kind of continued through the entire pen. Again, you get all the benefits of it being a pocket-sized pen. It is light, which means you're not gonna suffer any kind of hand cramps or really get fatigued in any way, shape, or form. If anything, for people with bigger hands, one, why are you getting a pocket-sized pen? You probably shouldn't be doing that. Two, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to hold. But if you have small hands like me, I do have small hands. Don't judge me. I don't know what to tell you about that. I was born like this. But it feels fine. It feels good. Never had an issue where I was like, my hand. I've never been like that. You know, been fine. Overall, like I said, it's with the combination of the nib, which is just a regular Yobo number 6, and this pen and the body, I find myself reaching for it almost daily. It is a fun experience. I like using it. I am confident in its ability to write. I am confident in its reliability, in the way that it performs. Overall, the writing experience is really good for me. And for that, I gave it a 7 out of 10. And then for the final category that we're going to talk about today, it's going to be the uniqueness and the community appeal. And honestly, there's just nothing like a Schondsgn pen. Let's be honest. Like, it's got a unique aesthetic that I don't think you're going to find anywhere else. And I understand that uniqueness, the whole machined part of it, isn't going to be for everybody, which is cool. It's got a very industrial vibe to it, right? It's very precise, but it feels good. And in terms of the community appeal, people are always looking forward to new drops. And a big part of the community appeal is Ian himself, which he's like, I'm assuming, one of the head engineers that takes care of the manufacturing and design process. He's also the customer service dude who will talk to you at all the shows. He has an amazing reputation of talking to fellow pen enthusiasts. If you go to these shows, if you talk to him in person, he's super responsive. I've already said that before, but he's awesome. And I feel like, God, it sounds like I'm glazing him, but genuinely, he's a good dude, and I feel like that plays a really big factor into his products. And you could see the love that comes into these things. Now, when we're talking about uniqueness, we could probably delve a little bit into collectability. Do I think that Schondsgn pens, as of now, are like collectibles? Not necessarily. Like, for a lot of people that get into fountain pens, like vintage fountain pens, a lot of people look into collecting them. It's not really about the utilitarian aspect of the fountain pen. It's about having it in your collection. I do not think these are necessarily super collectible yet. okay? It's the design that makes them unique, but not necessarily collectible. It's a little bit weird, but maybe that'll change in the future. Again, this is a company that's really trying to innovate in the space, change things around, and I will always appreciate it. So for uniqueness and community appeal, we're giving it an 8 out of 10. So with all of that being said, the final score for the Schondsgn Pocket 6 pen is going to be a 7.2 out of 10. Now, like I said, it's a good pen. It's my first pen, my first Schondsgn design pen. I have no complaints. Does it stand out amongst the other couple hundred pens that I have now? Not necessarily yet. Again, it's a good pen. I don't have anything bad to say, but I don't have any like a raving review about it. It's fun to use. It is reliable. If you're looking for something durable, you know, for somebody who wants to throw it in your pocket, for somebody who wants to throw it in a backpack, you don't want to worry about breaking it. This is a great pen. You know, I would probably hand this to a little kid to use. Well, maybe if I trusted them writing with it. But regardless, I think a 7.2 out of 10 is pretty decent. You know, it's a good pen. It's a good pen. That's what I could say. So I hope you guys liked this review. I tried to be as objective. That's why I'm trying to break it down into categories. I'm not just trying to go about feelings here. All right. Let me know what you guys think about this rating. Do you guys have a Schondsgn design pen? What pen do you guys have? Do you use it often? How much was it? Like, I think we should have a lot of price transparency with these things so people have a better idea of what they're spending their hard-earned money on, right? Again, I love Ian. Talk to him if you ever see him at a show. One of the nicest dudes in the entire fucking industry. And I hope you guys liked it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.